All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really clever and, let's be honest, a kind of scary new online attack that can figure out exactly who you are just from visiting a website. So let's get into how it works. We all kind of feel like we have a certain level of anonymity when we're online. But what if that's just not true? What if a single click, a single visit to one website could connect everything you're doing directly to your real-world identity? Okay, so first things first. We're going to break down what this threat is actually all about and, why for some people the stakes are unbelievably high. So the official name for this is targeted de-anonymization. And look, this isn't your everyday ad tracking with cookies. No, this is way, way different. An attacker builds a website with one very specific mission: to find out if a particular person, say a journalist with a known Twitter account, is the one visiting their site. It's basically a custom-built digital trap. And this isn't just a matter of simple privacy. For people like journalists, activists, or anyone in a vulnerable group, being identified can have some devastating real-world consequences. The researchers who uncovered this attack put it perfectly. Losing your anonymity can literally put your life and liberty at risk. So yeah, the human stakes here are incredibly high. Now, this idea of trying to unmask website visitors, it's not exactly new, but the old tricks of the trade, they're basically going extinct. Let's take a quick look at how this used to be done and, more importantly, why it doesn't work so well anymore. The classic move was something called a leaky resource attack. Here's the gist. An attacker would privately share something with you, and only you, like a private YouTube video linked to your Google account. Then, they'd embed that same video on their own sneaky website. When you visit their site, your browser, which is already logged into Google, tries to load the video. The attacker's site then uses a little trick called a cross-site leak to check, hey, did that video load? If it did, well, bingo, they know it's you. But the folks who build our browsers, they caught on. They started rolling out new security features. They have these complicated names like cross-origin policies and same-site cookies, but their job is actually really simple. They plug these kinds of leaks. Think of it like they're building higher digital walls between websites, making it a whole lot harder for one site to peek over and see what another one is doing. So one door closes, and attackers find a brand new one. And this next method is so much more subtle, so much more powerful, because it doesn't rely on software loopholes. Nope, it relies on the actual physical hardware of your computer. Think about it this way. Every single thing your computer does, like loading a video, creates a tiny, unique little echo in its hardware, a faint vibration. Now, what if an attacker could learn how to listen for one very specific echo, the one that proves you're exactly who they think you are? This is what's known as a cache side channel attack. It all comes down to your CPU's cache. That's a small, super fast chunk of memory your computer uses to speed things up. But here's the catch. All the programs on your computer have to share this little piece of memory. And that means a malicious script can just sit there and watch how other things, like your web browser, are using it. It's basically spying on the physical activity of your processor. The technique itself is called prime plus probe, and it's pretty wild. First, the attacker's script primes the cache by filling it up with its own junk data. Then, it just waits for your browser to load that shared YouTube video. If you're the right person, loading that video will push the attacker's data out of the cache to make room. The script then probes the cache, and if its data is gone, it knows you loaded the video. It has spotted your digital footprint, all without a single software leak. Okay, so that's the theory. But how does this actually stack up in the real world? Well, the results are impressively effective. Let's just see how fast, how widespread, and how incredibly sneaky this thing is. Get this. In most scenarios, this attack can identify a target in under 3 seconds. That is faster than most web pages even finish loading. It's practically instant, and it's completely invisible to you. And we're not talking about some niche vulnerability here. It affects the biggest names on the internet. We're talking Google, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Reddit, the whole shebang. If you're logged into any of these services, an attacker could potentially use them to figure out who you are.
What's even crazier is that the attack has a clever workaround for even the most secure browsers that block these sorts of things, like Safari and Tor. When you click a link on the malicious site, it doesn't just open a normal pop-up that you'd notice. Instead, it opens a pop under or a tab under. A whole new window opens up behind the page you're looking at, loads the resource to check your identity, and then closes itself. It all happens completely in the background. You'd never even see it.
Okay, I know, that was a lot of bad news, but here's the good news. The same researchers who found this attack also built a defense against it. So let's shift gears and talk about the solution. The defense is a browser extension called Liquidator Plus, and it's designed specifically to stop these cache-based de-anonymization attacks dead in their tracks. So what can you do? Well, the most direct step is to install the Liquidator Plus extension. But you can also just build up some good security habits. Log out of services when you're done with them. Remember, this whole attack only works if you're logged in. You can also use different browser profiles or containers to keep your online identities separate. And just generally be a little more mindful about staying logged into accounts all the time, especially on your phone. And this really brings us to the final big picture question. This whole attack just goes to show you that online security is a constant cat and mouse game. Software protections get better, so attackers just go deeper, right down to the hardware level. And it leaves you wondering, as our technology gets more and more complex, how do we build a digital world where our privacy and our safety can actually keep pace?